Behavioral, style, situational, and contingency theory. This is the topic in this particular presentation. We will be discussing in depth everything with respect to the contingency theory, the situational theory, the behavioral theory, and the style theory, thereby of leadership. Now, first and foremost thing is the behavioral theory. Remember, behavioral theories are can be taught, often been taught, but then there are people who says leadership cannot be bred. They are born as such. So you just cannot bred them or cultivate them or culture them or basically educate and train them. Basically, the qualities of leaders are imbibed right at, at their DNA level or are being bestowed upon during the birth itself. So we have these trait theories and behavioral theories that needs to be understood. The behavioral theories believe that adapting to a certain behaviors will actually enable the person to become a wonderful leader thereby. So, what are we talking about? The various studies that have been taken care for in respect to the behavioral theories. They say you are talking about initiating structures, being production oriented, or all about consideration or employee oriented. So, you can be task oriented or you can be people oriented, as which has been stated out here. Assumption: leaders can be trained. The goals are to develop leaders. Problems are of effective behaviors. Do not generalize across the situation as the case might be. Yes, we are talking about the behavioral approach. Remember, two style. One is task oriented and the other one is people oriented. In either way, if you are focusing on them, leaderships can be qualities can be groomed and leaders can be trained. What does the studies reflect? It tells about initiating structure. This is what we are looking as such. The extent to which leaders is likely to define the structures, his or her role altogether. Those of that subordinates in search of a goal attainment. Consideration. Yes, we are talking about consideration, the extent to which leader is likely to have a job, a particular relationship characterized by mutual benefit, mutual trust, mutual respect. And I am talking about the supervisors and employee relationships out here. This is what needs to make the relationship stronger and bond formation of a vibrant bond. Now, that is what consideration is all about it. On the other hand, when the leader is defined by the structures as what is to be done, it is mostly goal oriented, and there is what the leaders would be trying to imbibe in the subordinate to attain their respective goals or the objectives as has been predefined in their job description. Let us understand what we are talking about, the other studies that comes around it. Employee oriented leaders is this is one wherein people are being focused upon. You are getting compassionate about the employees that you're working for, taking a personal interest in the needs of the employees and accepting individual differences among the members thereby. This is what we exactly go about it. Now we should understand there are certain leaders who might not be very people oriented but probably task oriented or production oriented leaders, one which emphasizes technical or task aspects of the job, thereby every now and then this is what the managerial grid would look like. We have this thing as a Blake and Mouton's theory. You see the quadrant of 1 1 and 9 9 to be an extreme. Remember, we are plotting on the x axis the concern for production or task. On the y axis is the employee orientations or concern from people on the y. So when the people orientation and task orientation is the least one, it's absolutely the least one. This is the quadrant that uh, go for. You are not being very focused. It is a free rein leadership as on when on basis. Whereas as a concern for people will be high and concern for task is very low. It's 1-9 kind of scenario, which is a benevolent leaders, a humanistic leader that we are talking about, which is contrary to the fact which when we talk about the task oriented leader, wherein you are emphasizing on the task and least concerned about the people. And this is a point where you are equally balanced between goal, objective, resources, task, people, and so on and so forth. The best scenario, which I believe so, would be 9-9, where you place equal amount of emphasis to both people and the task orientation. Remember, the contingency theory is all about situation. We have the Feidler contingency model, the cognitive resource model, and Hershey and Blackard's situational leadership model, the path goal theory that comes around it. Contingency theory tells about the Feidler's theory says it is at the firefighting moment at the 11th hour. Some person has been catapulted to face the consequences, and these are the people who might take the situation by their hand and actually reverse it or attain or contain the situation altogether. Whereas the cognitive resource theory is all about the balance in terms of distribution of resources, so as to not be giving as the first come first serve basis, but it is always on need basis that we're talking about it. Situational leadership we have spoken right now out here. So Feidler's leadership style is almost fixed. We need to understand this Feidler leadership style. Whereas the other styles, the leadership style can and should be changed. Is that what we're talking about in terms of contingency theory? Remember, in the Feidler model, the style is almost fixed. It is either task oriented or people oriented, or wherein you want to build up a stronger bond between employees. Consider situational favorableness for leaders member relationship, the task structure that we talk about, the position of power that comes around it. It is where we talk about the contingencies model. Key assumptions are leader must fit a situation. Options to accomplish this is to leader that fit the situation or change the situation to fit the leader. It's either it has to be a perfect match between the situation and the leader. Either you can change the leader or you can change the situation, as is the case which has been stated. Remember, the style for leaders is almost fixed. In Feidler model, the assumption is leadership style is fixed and can be measured by the LPC or the least preferred co-workers questionnaire as a person who has been most hated, if I am using a strong word. But if it is a soft word that we are going to go by, it is LPC, which is least preferred co-worker. The least preferred co-worker questionnaires in which our leaders will be evaluated a co-worker who is not liked at all or indicated when the leadership is task or relationship oriented. Cognitive resource theory is all about leadership that states the level of stress in a situation is what impacts whether a leader intelligence or experiences will be more effective. Research supports a less intelligent individual perform better in leadership roles under high stress than do more intelligent individuals. Remember, it is the less experienced people perform much better in leadership roles and under low stress than do most of the experienced one that we have actually come across. This is what exactly is meant by the cognitive resource theory. It is the amount of stress that a particular situation generates and how does the leader actually handles it. He might be handling it through his or her experiences, through his or her intelligence, which weights it all about it. Remember, less individual intelligent individual perform better in leadership role under high stress. then the more intelligent people will all be about it. It means more knowledge and more confusion, whereas less intelligent people have less knowledge and less confusion. They are very clear as what to be expected and how to go about it. So least experienced people perform better in leadership role under low stresses than probably the most experienced one is all about it. So contingency theory of Hersey and Blackout situational model considers leaders' behavior, the task, the relationship, the finding that we go around it, assuming that every leaders are going to change their behaviors and they are going to change their behavior to tune themselves with the requisite change in the situation. The followers task maturity is what we are talking about of. The followers task maturity is nothing but their ability, their experiences, their trust, and that is what we are looking into it. The psychological maturity is willingness to take the responsibility thereby. This is of utmost importance. This psychological maturity. You need to understand what is to be expected. Leaders can and should change their style to fit the followers' degree of readiness, willingness, and ability. Therefore, it is possible to train a leader probably a little bit much better fit than their styles to their followers. This is exactly what we are demeaning, what the fact finding mission is all about it. Hirsch's Blanker situational leadership theories, or SLT as it is popularly known as, is a contingency theory that focuses on the readiness of the follower. The more willing and the more able they are, the less support that they will be looking from the leaders or the managers or the supervisor. Look at the graph, it tells about it, if it is high and low, and how it is goes about amount of leaders support and the supervision required. When supervision is required, if it is the followers are ready, they are willing, they are able, they will require less supervision. Wherein if they are not ready, if they are not able, if they are not experienced, they will require much better supervision, a higher supervision and monitoring that is required out there. That is what we need, what Hersey and Blanchard situational leadership theory states altogether. Let us understand the followers' readiness. One on the x-axis is the willingness, and on the y-axis is the ability. So if it is your quality and if it is your will issue and a skill issue, remember when the followers are able but they are unwilling to follow is when we are looking at supportive participations. Have a style of supportive participation wherein you give the resources as on when on required. Let them make a move and probably you will release these resources there were. But what happens when the followers not only willing but are also able? You don't have to do any supervision. It's just cross monitoring that you got to do it on a larger scale. Similarly, the follower readiness is about unwilling and unable. Now, here the followers are absolutely rudderless board. They don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skills, and most importantly, they do not know what to do. Herein, you have to ask them to follow step by step procedure. It has to be a very directive relationship. But then there are followers who are not only not skilled, not knowledgeable, they are also unwilling to follow your diktat, and that is what a high task relationship orientation needs to be formed around here. This is what we are looking out here as far as Hershey's and Blackard's model is concerned. So let us go for LMX theory, or the leader member exchange theory. The LMX theory states that followers to be completely in favorites are based on their competencies and compatibility, which is more or less at par with the leader. So you have followers who are equivalent at par with the leaders, and that is what the leader member exchange take place. So it is very difficult to put who is actually the leaders in the group. They are equally able, they are equally competent, and that is what we are looking out here. Exchange with these and followers will be higher quality than those which they are not. You need to talk it out. Resulting subordinates will have a higher performance rating, definitive much less turnover, and a greater job satisfaction. This is what we are looking at it. It is the results that comes around it. Remember, exchanges with our in followers will be of higher quality, wherein resulting subordinates will have a higher performance rating. That is the requisite demand and command of LMX theory is all about, wherein it is very difficult to distinguish between the member and the leader, as everyone are equally competent and have similar potentials altogether. Now we come to the path goal theories as the last slide for the day. It is wherein we state the premises. The what is the premises? The premises states the leader must help the followers attain the goal. Look at it. It might be the leaders, but it is actually helping people to climb up the box or the cubic you want to go around it. Leader must change behavior to fit the situation, the environment contingencies, and the subordinate contingencies as on when on basis. You have to be at times people talk about servant leadership is wherein you are actually helping your subordinates attaining the goal. At times you are manipulating the situation in favor of the subordinates, and that is what the path goal theories also state around it. With this, I come to an end of this particular video. We have spoken about everything under behavioral leadership, style leadership, structural leadership, and contingency theory. Thank you for watching this video.